All right, let's talk about something that so many people with IBS deal with, that constant, nagging question of what can I actually eat? It's exhausting, right? Well, today we're going to dive into a system that turns your freezer into, honestly, your best friend for getting some peace of mind.
I mean, does this question just fill you with a sense of dread? If it does, you are so not alone. For so many of us with IBS, especially when you're juggling a busy schedule, mealtime stops being a joy. It just becomes this source of stress, trying to figure out what's safe, what you have on hand, and what's not going to send your symptoms into a spiral.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It's not just about the food itself, it's the mental load. It's that decision fatigue, day in and day out. It's a real burden, but here's the good news. There is a scientifically backed way to lift that weight. So let's get into the foundation for this whole system, which is the low FODMAP diet. And look, this isn't just another list of eat this, not that. No. This is a structured, clinical process, and it's designed to give you real answers about your body. Okay, that word, FOMDP, looks super intimidating, but it's really just an acronym. Think of FODMAPs as a specific group of little carbohydrates that, for people with IBS, don't get absorbed very well, so they end up getting fermented by your gut bacteria, and that's what can cause all that lovely gas, bloating, and pain. So the whole point of the diet is to temporarily dial them way down. And here is the most important part. It actually works. We're talking clinical trials showing that 50 to 80% of people with IBS get real relief. This isn't just a hunch. It's the most evidence-based approach we have for managing symptoms with what you eat. And what's so cool here is that this maps out a clear journey. This is not a forever diet. Phase 1, you restrict things to let your system just calm down and get a baseline. Then comes the most important part, Phase 2. Reintroduction. You systematically test foods to figure out your personal triggers. And finally, you get to Phase 3, personalization, where you build a sustainable diet based on what you learned. Okay, so how in the world do you manage all of this without going crazy? Well, this is where your freezer becomes your secret weapon. We're going to take it from being that, forgotten icy wasteland and turn it into a strategic tool for your health. I absolutely love this analogy. Think about it. Every meal you prep and put in there is like a deposit. It's a pre-approved, symptom-safe meal that you can just withdraw on a busy night. It completely removes that what's for dinner stress. You're basically doing a huge favor for your future self. Now, let's get into some golden rules to make this work. Rule number 1, you have to let your food cool down completely before you freeze it. If you put hot food in there, it raises the temperature of the whole freezer, which is not good. It can encourage bacteria, and it creates those gross ice crystals that just ruin the texture of your food. Golden rule number 2, portion control is everything on this diet. A certain food might be totally fine in a half-cup serving, but a big problem in a full-cup serving. So do yourself a favor and portion out the meals before you freeze them, sticking to those official serving sizes. It takes all the guesswork out of it later. And rule number 3, you gotta know what not to freeze. Some things just don't hold up. Dairy cream can get all grainy and weird. Raw veggies like lettuce or cucumber, they're just gonna turn into mush. And those delicate fresh herbs will lose all their flavor. The key is to stick to recipes that are designed to be frozen. And the great news is you don't need a bunch of fancy gadgets for this. We're talking some good, freezer-safe containers. Those silicone muffin trays are amazing for portioning out things like soups or sauces, and of course, a marker and some tape for labeling. Oh, and a little freezer thermometer is a great idea just to make sure things are staying cold enough. Super simple. Okay, let's make this real. We're diving into the action plan. This is how you actually put this system to work without feeling like you have to give up your entire weekend. Now this is a total game changer, a smart labeling system. The phase tag tells you if a meal is for the elimination phase, that's the E, or if it's a test meal for reintroduction, marked with an R. Then you've got the color code, so you can see at a glance if something is super gentle or maybe better for a day when you're feeling really good. And here's the flow. It's really that easy. In about 90 minutes, you can totally knock out 3 or 4 different recipes. You just pick them, shop for them, and then follow the steps: prep, cook, cool, and then pack, label, and freeze. That's a whole week's worth of peace of mind right there. So check this out. Here's a perfect example of how this system supports that crucial reintroduction phase. A fructan challenge meal is just brilliant. You start with a base you know is 100% safe for you, right? Then you add a very specific measured amount of a test ingredient, say 1 little teaspoon of onion powder.
It lets you test your tolerance in a totally controlled scientific way. And this, right here, is the end goal. This is what it's all about. The whole point of this system is to move you away from feeling restricted and toward a diet that is unique and sustainably yours. It's about freedom. And you can see how flexible this whole thing becomes over time. Think of your meals as modules. You've got a protein, a carb, a veggie. At first, they're all your safe base options. But hey, once you learn you can handle, say, wheat, you can just swap your safe gluten-free pasta for regular pasta. Your freezer library literally grows and evolves as you learn more about your body.
And that's really the big mental shift, isn't it? You stop being someone who's just following a bunch of rigid rules, and you become a scientist. You're running little experiments and actively discovering how your own unique body works. It's so empowering.
Exactly. This quote just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. The goal is not to stay on a super restrictive diet forever. The goal is to use this process as a tool to build the widest, most varied, and most delicious diet that your body is happy with.
So, I'll leave you with this question. What if that daily food stress could just disappear and be replaced with confidence? What if you knew you had a freezer full of safe, delicious meals ready to go at any time? With a system like this, that calm is absolutely within your reach. Thanks for joining me.